Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Cachet, and you are watching Shay with the Hobbies. We are here for season 4, episode 2 of Writerly Conversations. It is another amazing live conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about Black love, all its facets, and publishing. And so, if you remember our first year, we had a nice little conversation about Black love under the big umbrella of Black romance. And so in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about Black love and its umbrella. So not just romantic love, but familial love, platonic love, friendship love, all the things that we personally would like to see in books. So before we get into that, I will let my lovely co-hosts introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Britt. I almost went right into hi, this is my channel, Britt Writerly, but it's not. I am down the street at Shay's crib. This is her channel. Wouldn't it be something if we could locate our channels via streets? I'm down the apostrophe after the backslash. Anyway. I'm Britt. My channel is Britt Writerly. It's a book and author too, where I talk about the intersections of literature and culture. I share my journey, all of my oops and woos of indie publishing and how that's capital G going. I'm super excited because I think this is our very first time having a co-host on Writerly Conversations. Yes? So exciting. So excited. So excited. So, first inaugural guest co-host, who you with?
Hey y'all, I'm Deidre. This is just what I say when I come onto the internet streets. My channel is Shade Tree Reads. I read a little bit of everything, and I like to keep it as Black as possible. If you have, I'm just gonna ask this at the top of the story. If you have some sci-fi written by Black authors that you liked and or loved, not hate read, send them to me, please, in the comments. All right, y'all. And let me just say, I also don't write. I'm just a reader. And I wouldn't even call myself a reviewer. I am a lover of books. So that's me.
And if y'all are new around here, y'all might not know she's also one of the co-hosts for the Missy Elliott Readathon. So there's that as well. Which we're going super word. I've been reading so many black books this month. I have enjoyed everything. I think I've read one non-black book, and it was about the white man who turned himself black in 1959 to experience being black. So ever still, everything been black over here. So I'm excited to talk about Black love. So on our first question for the night, and definitely y'all don't hesitate to join into the live conversation per always. We usually speak about Black love in the terms of romantic relationships, as our first conversation was and will always be a hit, or for publishing Black romance. But what does it look like in non-romantic terms for you ladies?
I don't mind. I'll go first. So what does it look like in non-romantic terms? Like for Black love, it's almost nothing like reading about and experiencing a group of girlfriends, a group of guy friends, which that don't happen very often. I can't think of one incident. That guy don't even write anymore, but that book was a banger. It was a banger, and I hope it stands the test of time. I haven't read it in maybe about 5 years, but I'm talking about Good Peoples by Marcus Major. It's about a group of 4 guys that are they're just like college buddies. I think I don't even think they're fraternity brothers, but they might be fraternity brothers, and how they navigate their relationship with each other, and then they're all looking for love. It's a banger. He shows up in this anthology called Got to Be Real. Y'all might have seen this. Is very, very old. But it has Eric Jerome Dickey, Elin Harris, Colin Channer, and Marcus Major. He shows up in here, and his story in here is really good. He wrote this, he wrote Good Peoples, and he wrote one other book, all bangers, and then he left. He said, I've had enough. He don't write no more. I don't know, but they were
wrote down both those books. I wrote them.
Man, they were really, really good. Really, really good. Yeah. So I highly recommend those. And then the other thing is like familial love, where it's a Black family. You know, a lot of times you see generations, and how some of their traditions are passed down and how they show love. It might be cooking, it might be trips, it might be, you know, going to grandma's house in the summer. It might be the family cookout or family reunion, stuff like that. And for that, I can't think of anything that wasn't also a romance. But writers, we want to see it. We want to see more of it. So there's that. What does it look like for you, Britt?
I was thinking about family lore when you said you couldn't think of any that weren't romance. Family lore is. Can you hear me?
It sounds like something is like covering your mic for me.
Okay. I was thinking about family lore when you were like family love that's not a romance. Family lore has a lot of familiar relationships, surprisingly, and it's not a big romance. I'm just kind of in there. Actually, it's none. There's no romance subplot. But anyway, what does Black romance look at? Well, I guess Black love look like in non-romantic terms. I love a good Black friendship. And I also don't mind like when the besties are like their siblings. So like I even though it is a romance, one of my favorite things about the McLean brothers series by Alexandra House is the McLean brothers, like their relationship with each other. They are so hilarious. The way they joke with each other, the way they hook each other up and like in Milk Case and before, like I just find them hilarious. I laugh out loud. I love the way she writes siblings. So I think it looks like a lot of laughter, being all up in the business and being like, I'm gonna give you serious advice. I am. But first I just have to joke you real quick because this is really funny. I know you're going through it, but I'm not. And it's hilarious. So I love the sibling love. I think is so it's so intimate because they know everything, and it just brings in a different level of laughter because they be pulling out history. So that's like my favorite kind of non-romantic Black love is like sibling love and besties like long time best friends because it still ends up having that sort of sibling tenor to it where it's like, girl, I remember when we was in grade school and you still did XYZ. So those are my favorite times when I think it looks like bringing up the personal history with that cultural overtone of like oldest and the third, and also your kitchen is a hot mess. That's how I knew you was going through it because you just you need your hair done.
Yeah, I think for me, I think familial is one of my favorites. Similarly for the similar reasons as the sibling. I think of like the family aspect of Bloodlight Magic and Bloodlight Fate was one of my absolute favorite parts of it, specifically because we read so many YAs where there is no family, or if there's family, it's found family. And like found family is great, right? Like, don't get me wrong, but there's something to be said about the love between people you do not get to choose. There's something to be said about that level of love. I think that one of my favorite ways to show love, or to see love in books is, or black books with black characters, is food. So often somebody's love language is food. And so often, no matter what's going on in the story, I'm going to get description of somebody's meal. And it's one of the like most very like culturally things that we do, right? Like I read quite a few books by non-Black people, and there ain't a lot to talk about food consistently across the board. Like it don't matter where in the diaspora, you gonna let us know what you was eating and how it was cooked and everything. And I say this as somebody who's been reading books written in 1959, 1978, 1990, and 2022 in this last month. Like everybody does this. It is something that is unique to us, and I love it. Even y'all know the violin conspiracy worked the hell out of my nerve, but the love is shown from that main character and his grandmother, because there were so many dark moments. Those were our only moments of light in that story, but they were so important because they were our only moments of light. And that love between not only him and his grandmother, but his grandmother and her grandfather, and this inanimate object was so central to Black love in stories to me. Like it is so much more than the I love yous of the story. It is in the I'm proud of yous. It's in the follow your dreams. It's in the do what your heart desires moments that are not necessarily in general what we are told, right? Not like what individually and families were told, but like in general, these aren't necessarily the things that are fleshed out to us. And so I love getting to see it in that way in stories. And so I was just like, let me think of the books I've been reading this week.
Because the only way these books would come out with the Wahipe people, like centrally, is if it's a cozy mystery and it's set in a restaurant or a bakery or whatever. Like that's it.
Right. Like that's the whole,
that's the thing.
Not gimmick, but right, theme of the book. Like it's the whole, it's a cooking cozy mystery. So it follows in this specific way, right? And even then, 9 times out of 10, they be baking.
Yeah, they do.
It's the only ones that be cooking.
Yeah, cooking
ones, soul food ones, restaurant ones usually. And if they not, it'd be somebody who's not like, they be, what's the word they be saying? They spicy white. So it's like an Italian restaurant or something, right? Like it's not, you know, I don't know. What is it? We got soul food. What y'all got? Regular food? I don't know. What is it that I don't know what they gonna cook. Okay, so it's Black History Month, and before we continue, I just have to say, whoever decided to dig up the Black man talking about the city and when he finally got to taste the food, how it wasn't even worth it, and decided for that to just be one of the things they showcase for Black History Month. I love you. I love you. I love you. Because for me, it was everything. We lost Deidre. Hopefully she comes back. But it made me giggle so much when it was like, imagine, you know, putting your body on the line for some food that wasn't even good.
Can you imagine?
Man, be so mad for this. I need to add pepper.
Take one bite, look to your left, look to your right.
I'd be so upset. It's so upset.
Yo, because I've seen the clip where they're like, he's back. I've seen the clip where they're like, when they are doing the sit-in, then they're trying to eat, and the people are like shaking them and grabbing them up. And I can just imagine them taking one bite and then just get up from their arm and be like, you ain't gotta grab me.
Right? Like just imagine those times that like people would pour hot coffee on them and spit in your face, like all the things they've done, and the food wasn't even worth it, bro.
You ain't gotta ask me to leave. I quit.
Bro, I quit. I'm done. I don't even want to come to y'all places no more. Right? Like, no, I'm good. I see why y'all don't want us to eat here. I don't want to eat here neither. Okay. We agree on something. We both agree. Y'all, I just had to say, whoever decided to find that black man and interview him so that he could tell us that,
For the culture.
I thank you. I thank you, because it's a good lesson that everything that glitter ain't gold.
Hello.
The grass is not always greener on the other side. You know.
It's greener where you season it. I mean, it's green. The greens are greener where you season them.
Man, cause bruh. All right. Compared to when you started your YouTube journey, what are your thoughts on the trajectory of Black love in publishing? Because I know that in the year that we started the Riley conversation that we talked about Black romance, I feel like either that was the same year or the very next year, Deidre, you and Ashley started now that's what I call Black love, right? That's what it was titled, right? I'm saying.
Yes, that was it. I was trying to play off of
Now that's what I call music.
Yeah.
I'm a 90s baby. I remember.
Okay. We here.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. That's how I know 75% of the Caucasian songs I know is those little clips on there of the top ones. So I don't even know the whole song, but you'll be like, you'll hear me singing a portion and be like, hey, you know, now that's what I call music, the commercial. That's how I know it. It was educating me, you know, it was educating me on popular music, is the truth. But in that time, you know, we had our initial thoughts on what Black love and Black romance and those things are, but that's been a few years now. So how have you, in the things you've been reading and the things you've been, for us as well, writing, right?
Yeah.
How has it, how are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on it?
You know, it's one thing that is different now for me than it was when I thought of coming up with that channel with Ashley, and even when I started my channel, Shay True Reads. And I'm no longer interested in convincing people that, one, Black love is when the people involved in the relationship are Black. I'm not trying to convince nobody of that no more. If y'all don't understand that, you're being obtuse at this point. And then two, when people say that it's not out there, I'm not interested in introducing people to it because it's too easy to find now. It's not that it was hard to find then, but now we've had this conversation for a long time. And Google's a thing, AI is a thing, you know what I'm saying? That's a thing. You can figure all these things out on your own if you want to. That's the difference for me now. And then that's just my feelings on it in a very specific like booktube content creator context. As far as what's out there now, I am very much just kind of jealous of what people get to read now, like, because I really cut my teeth on the old school, you know, straight up and straight as in heterosexual and monogamous relationships on all the Black love that I was reading, or Black romance that I cut my teeth on. And now you got a little bit of everything. Not only, I mean, there was erotica then, but you also have, you know, thruples, you got male, you got female, you got, you know, polyamorous, where it's like at least 4, you know, people involved. And I just like that there's something for everybody now. There wasn't necessarily something for everybody. And you got a lot of people leaning into the different niches as far as like Christian romance, you got romantasy, you got where it's fantasy and romance, and you got it's one more that I'm really forgetting. Maybe it's like suspense. Yes, you got romantic suspense, which, you know, we have that in books, but we didn't have it as necessarily a genre or a niche or whatever you want to call it. So I'm very happy that, like I said, there's something for everybody now. Whether you don't have to like it per se that it exists, but it's there. You don't have to read it if you don't like it. But there's probably something for you out there, specifically in the Black love realm.
Yeah, I um Deidre said a lot of, I agree with a lot, so I'm just gonna further it and go down the next street. I'm really into the street metaphor. I feel like we need to figure out how to mark street addresses on our channel. Like, where is the channel located? So then we can have more specific directions of, I'm across the street on Shay's channel, I'm down the street at Deidre's channel. I need to figure that out. But anyway, I have become more aware of the romantic thing very recently, and mostly because Brittany S. Lewis is talking about it a lot on her TikTok, or on her socials in general, like TikTok and Instagram, because she's writing the romantic that's coming out next year, and she's talking a lot about like Black romantic and wanting more, because a lot of the romantic that people are talking about, obviously, is like Rebecca Yarros with Fourth Wing and all of that kind of stuff. So she's talking about like we need Black romantic, and like he just said, that there generally is especially in YA, there generally is a romantic subplot in fantasy anyway, but making it sort of entwined from the beginning as opposed to someone that they just meet in the second act, I guess is the difference between a romantic subplot in fantasy and an actual romantasy. So I need to find out where all the Black romantasy are. I mean, I'm sure it's not like all, like there's actually 15,000, but I do want to know where the ones that are out there are. Um, and as far as my thoughts on like Black love in the Christian fiction genres, I was thinking about this today, and I was like, something that not Deidre, Zena, something Zena said in the last Friday stream, where she was like, I finally read a Tony Silo book. It was fine. Because Tony Silo was like big in Black Christian fiction. She was like, it was fine. I I think she was like, I would like to read a Black romance Christian fiction that is not produced by like Bethany House. Which I was like, I've heard of Bethany House, but I haven't yet investigated them. Like, who are they? And she was like, they're mostly like white conservatives and Christian fiction. And I want to find the Christian fiction, the Christian romance, the Black Christian romance that has some culture to it also. Like, just because you're Christian doesn't mean you can't be cultural also. And I'm just like, where is the, oh, and by oomph, I don't mean sex. I really mean like, where's the culture? So that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it's out there and I just don't know what it looks like. That may well be what it is. But that's what I'm looking for. So a lot of what I'm seeing is just so whitewashed. Like it's just too plain to be realistic. And it's frustrating because in some cases it really can be like reading a white Christian fiction just with Black faces. And I'm like, but what's the separation? What's the difference? And I'm not saying that this is the case with Tony Silo, because I have yet to read one of her books. I've mostly read Michelle Simpson and a few others. And I like Michelle Simpson's books. So I think like for her, she's like, but also she writes a lot of women's fiction. It's not necessarily romance. There's a romantic subplot, but reading like a straight Black Christian romance where there's as much culture as I find like Michelle Simpson's books. I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of waiting for that. So those are my thoughts. I really would like to see more diversity in Christian romantic subgenres and like the presence of more culture in the Black Christian romance genre, which is sad because honestly,
No, I can definitely understand that. I know that was like why that was like one genre I never like that in historical. My like initial thought of them was just so like nah. I don't know. I have
yeah.
graduated and grown and think differently now, obviously, because I've accepted the historical fiction
Oh
part
yeah.
of my life as of this point. And I never had anything against Christian romance or anything like that. I think what has been interesting for me in the past few years is I've like watched publishing as far as Black love goes. I think it has been very interesting to see how many more families we see in Black books compared to before. If they are not necessarily the best representations, I would say. And so I think there is something to be said about that we went from having like no family to a lot of very bad looking family. And I'm curious about what ways publishing is working to combat that as we go forward, what ways writers are looking to tell stories in different ways as well. Right, because it's
writers not publishing because they not
These
looking
are like nothing.
Okay, good girl. I was like, time out, coach. Time out. They not.
No, I'm saying writers starting there. Well, because like that's the other part of what we've been talking about, at least for the violin conspiracy, right? Like how much of this was originally in your manuscript, and how much of this was, I need you to punch up this in this scene. I need you to do this. Like how much of it is you willingly inflicting all this pain on your Black readers, and how much is publishing kind of requiring that of you, right? Like that's a real conversation. And so that's why for me, it's like it's publishing, but it definitely starts with the writers, because it's like, are you championing Black love in your stories? Are you making an effort to showcase this in more than just one facet, right? Because like I feel like a bunch of people jumped on the Black romance train, right? Like I feel like we got a couple of y'all that did a whole anthology that was supposed to be Black romance, even though what y'all normally write don't be Black romance. And it surely showed us. We saw how evident that was in that anthology, because it just wasn't what y'all do. And so in that, right, like how much of what's going on is really, it's really gonna change. I just love how both of y'all just kept just drinking the whole time. It was honestly, it was just spot on. It just was chef's kiss. Y'all did that. I was like, I loved it.
I'm done at the free throw. I'm done at that.
I loved it all. I loved it all. But for real, like I think that publishing takes what they're given to an extent, right?
Okay, hold up. Let me not let you finish there. Remember how we felt when we finished
Get off the road.
Terry McMillan book, that we was like, really, this is what y'all was really cutting, waiting to exhale. Mm-hmm. Remember how we felt? That was like 90. So I don't know if it's publishing taking what they can get so much as they
complicated.
It's like it's the lines are blurred, because it's like, okay, are the people are here, they're giving us this, let's see how much more we can get from them. They already said that, this is not said. You know what I mean?
That's exactly what I mean though, right? Like you give the base level of that, and then it's like, well, if it starts right here, how much more can we get out of it, right? If this is, if we wasn't even asking for it and this is what you gave us, how much more if we're like, give me some more. Give me some more.
Yeah.
Tag you in.
I think, to push this complication, I think there's also something to be said for who makes up capital P publishing. And
I'm sorry, but I glitched. Yeah, can you run that back for me? You glitched.
No, you still glitching. There you go. You
back. Y'all hear me?
Pause.
Am I here? Am I back?
There we go.
See,
yeah, you're back. You're back.
And they didn't want it to be on the air. Okay, they didn't want what I was going to say to be heard. I think while we're talking about general like capital P publishing, we can also talk about like who makes up capital P publishing. And when I think about like agents, right, especially like agents who have really editorial eyes, editorial training, you're also a part of like what version of the manuscript even goes out on sub. And so thinking about people like Toni Morrison, like was pivotal at Penguin Random House for ushering in a lot of really great stories. Can y'all still hear me? Am I frozen again? Okay, cool. Y'all were so still. I was like, dang, I'm frozen again. Toni Morrison ushered in so many like cultural iconic stories now because she was at Penguin Random House, and she took that responsibility really seriously about like elevating Black storytelling. And so when I think about like who are the Black editors now who are standing at the gate to keep it open and not to guard people and keep it out and say, okay, I see the potential, I see the merit of the premise, let's question a few of these things that like where's that coming from? Okay, well, let's push, let's ask questions, let's like to really wrestle with the writer. A lot of agents now, even Black ones, even and especially Black ones, are burnt out, like they're tired, so they want books that are coming to them ready made, and they don't really have much by way of like, let's wrestle with the heart of the story. It's like, well, let's make this marketable, let's get this ready to go on sub. And I just think that there's some that Black stories need people who are willing to wrestle with the heart of the story so we can have good quality, touching, heart-wrenching genre fiction like we have good quality, heart-wrenching, like literary fiction.
I think it's interesting that you bring up editors and agents because I know me and Deidre, as well as me and Dejana, and I think even in the Discord we had a conversation just about how can't prove it.
Those are the best kinds.
Can't prove it, right?
Tenfold help out.
But there is something about reading Black books that feel like, did you have an editor look at it?
We've already discussed this.
Anybody that gives a damn not only about you but about this book, look at it.
Right, because at this point, like, it's getting scary how many mistakes I can find in trad pub books.
Flagrant is the word I would use, but yeah.
It's getting dangerously sinister how unfulfilling, how incomplete these stories are. We're getting stuff that just stops. But it's like 200, 300 pages. We're getting things that are not solved. And it feels like for trad pub, right? We know there are so many layers. There are so many eyes that have to look at a trad pub book before it comes out.
Right.
That it's like,
I don't believe no one saw this.
I don't believe anyone saw it. I don't believe. And so are we to believe that the author refused any correction?
No. I'm so doubtful of that.
Every single one of these authors refused correction, or
and the book still came out.
No one felt the need to correct them in the first place. Because that, to me, also plays on my thoughts on the trajectory of Black love in publishing, because there are things to be said about the stories we want to see and the stories we get. And sometimes we get stories and we're told that we need to be thankful for the stories that we get. But the truth of the matter is, there's a line in my poem that says there are scraps given to them meant to be delicacies. Like, why? Why are we supposed to accept these things? And when we don't accept these, we're getting called to the mat about not showing solidarity, about not reading books, about the stories are out here. Y'all only want one type of story. And it's like, no.
The good ones?
No, we just want to feel like we're valued as readers, right? Because, like, again, as the number one thing that I've said about the violin conspiracy is, who did you write that book for? Because if you wrote it for Black people, how could you not think about how much you were going to send a Black person into fight or flight reading that book? Like, you had so many physical actions of violence to Black bodies in that book that were unnecessary. Right? I don't remember not a dang content warning at the beginning of the book for nothing. I truly don't. And so if we are to be championing Black love, championing Black authors, championing Black stories, right? Like, we have to give something worth championing.
Oh, hard truth.
Right. And I feel like
Don't let me
that's
stop
one of the conversations that, as far as I know us, because we have always been willing to have like deeper and harder conversations on our
I'm about
channels,
to
right?
say.
But it's one of the things that people don't want to talk about. We talked about it on When Black Women Speaks, the like tax of being a Black reviewer and reading Black books and feeling like, dang, I gotta read this. Right.
And then how do I navigate it if it's not good?
Right. And how do I navigate it if it's not good? And what do I do if I have to stop? Right? Because I know I finished it.
Yeah.
I know Deidre finished it, but Bree didn't. Bree couldn't finish it. And there's no part of me that could blame her for not finishing it.
She didn't get very far even into it, if memory serves me. Because it was just so on the page and in your face. It's a lot.
In your face. Right. And it's like, again, when we're talking about these Black books and publishing, doing what they got with what they get, right? There's something to also be said about the fact that, like, why is this what we are pushed? And as a writer, why don't you want to push back against it? Right? Like, why aren't these narratives that we kind of want to shut down? Because publishing wants to take all the topic books they can get, but they sure don't want you to like flesh a topic out and write it all the way through. We got 5 and 6 topics that have been picked up on Black Twitter, and ain't none of them got a solution in this book. And it plays on the dynamics of Black love in those books, because in so many of them, all you're showcasing is trauma. You don't create respites for your characters, so you don't create respites for your readers, who 9 times out of 10 are us. They're Black, right? Like, I just think, right, like, there's something about sending your characters through hell and sending your readers through it too.
Wait, hold on. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, if there is one book that has ever made me feel like that, well, outside of the one y'all know, I just do not like that girl. But that other one, but both of them just had unnecessary Black violence on the page.
I can think of not necessarily Black violence, but just like, who was this for and why did you put us through this? I can think of like 3 books. Bam, right now. I don't mind to name them if you want me to. It's your channel, we can.
You know, I don't care. You know,
it's White Smoke. I didn't even tell the people that I read that. I just talked to you about it. Like, yeah, I'm very mad. I want to fight her. I want to fight her behind that book. I want to fight her.
I just want her to come up with an original idea. I swear. I just want her to come up with something, not something she read on Twitter, not somebody she saw in a news article. I had
to turn my camera off because
I just want her to be a little bit more creative. Personally,
we weren't even talking about that, Shay. We was not talking about that.
I thought we were talking about what we wanted from her. My bad. You said White Smoke.
It's White Smoke, the other Black girl.
I knew it. I
want to fight all of them.
Did you say Ace of Spades?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
You know, I didn't read that because you told me, and I was like, oh, hell no. I can't.
There's another one that I need to add to the list because I never got any resolution, I guess, because I didn't find an interview or like the author's note or nothing like that. They're Vicious Games by Joel. It's either Wellington or Washington.
It's Joel Wellington. I was thinking about reading that. Oh, so we got to
I am very confused. It's supposed to be satire, but I didn't catch the satire, and I want to fight.
Talk about the stuff they didn't call satire in the last few years. Feel really like, did y'all know what that word means?
Yeah.
Because did you ever read
they are
Black
starting to
Book?
bring back words that are like it's already been word, but they be giving it new definitions. And I'm like,
I don't like that.
make up another word that means that,
Right.
but that
Come
one
on, y'all can create new words. It happens all the time. Because
that wasn't it. It wasn't satire. So I really needed to understand her. Like when I say understand her, it's like when we saw the author interview of the author of the other Black woman, where she was like she related to Nella or whatever.
It makes sense.
It was like okay, all right.
Now I get it.
I get it. And then when we found out that the lady that wrote Ace of Spades was not from America, and she based that off of a TV show, I was like, okay.
Got you. Secondhand culture.
So, but with Joelle Wellington, I never got that. And it was some egregious things going on. Egregious.
Yeah.
I'm Brit here, so egregious.
Wow. Picking it up, what you putting down?
It was very bad, and I want to fight. So
no, because I gave you all my updates on the violin conspiracy. I was like, why? There is so much going on here, so much.
Yeah,
so much. I just was like I literally I had texted Deidre and I was like, I am in the library bawling right now. I am in so many tears. Why was this scene so horrible? Like, why did you put a Black person through this?
Yeah,
because like there's only two reasons to write this, right? Like you're only writing for generally two groups of people, right? Like in this situation, you're either writing to educate or you're writing for us, right? And in this situation, you're not educating anybody about anything. Truly, you are just subjecting us to violence. And we know, like, as writers, we know there's only a fraction of people who can't picture stuff in their mind when they're reading.
Right.
So knowing that, as this is your craft, do you not feel a duty to the Black people that are going to read this? Because even if you didn't write it for us, there's a greater chance that we're going to read it because we know you're Black.
Right.
And we want to support you.
And we know the characters are Black.
And we know the characters are Black.
And we want to identify with them. So knowing that that Black people are coming to the text to identify, why are they having to identify with a violated, subjected character?
And I know had I had a warning, I would have felt different, right? And I know that me and Deidre had warnings, right? But it wasn't like this is coming up, right? It wasn't in the book, right? It wasn't something the author gave me. It was something that somebody else had to give me. And I already knew from the jump, she already said she didn't think I was going to like it. I just was curious about what his first book was because I loved that second book so much. Like I was like, I really like how he told this story.
So this is the first. With Bree, you already do like another of his.
Yeah, so I read his second book first and loved it. And so since I read his second book first, I went back and was like, I'm going to read this because I'm curious. Right. And of course, Deidre being Deidre and Bree being Bree, I don't know if you're going to like, right. And the baseline mystery was enough for me. You know me and mysteries, right? Like trying to figure out who stole this man's violin. I'm good for that. It's all the other things that I had no idea I was going to be subjected to when I signed on. Yeah. Especially after reading this, because I read the second book first, right? So in the second book, you don't have this in this same way, right? Like you have a murder on page that people are, but it's not this graphic, it's not this visual, it's not any of the things that you did in this first one, right? And talking to Bree said she had talked to him after reading the first one, and she said it did seem like he turned it down in the second. So I think that happened between there. So it does look like, hey, I'm speaking to you on how this affected me, and an author made a change, right? Like
maybe he listened is what I was about to say.
And that's what she said. She said maybe he listened because I said that. I was like, girl, it's like reading two different books. Like if I had not known the same man wrote both books, I wouldn't have known the same man wrote both books. Like truly
beautiful.
Like, and I again, the second one is what got me. Loved it. Right. And so it's just that conversation about like publishing can go in so many directions, but most of the time the direction is based off of what we're choosing to show them, what we're choosing to write, what we're choosing as the people who are crafting the stories, right? People can't buy it if we don't offer it.
I know we got a couple more questions, but I want to put this in here and you can comment if you like. How much do you think that what is being sold and what is popular is influencing up and coming authors to submit?
Oh, a lot. A lot. Like, so many people are comping Legendborn when they're writing, and so many people are trying to write the next, like,
I got rolled my eyes out of my head. Oh, can we go to the next clip? You don't brought up Legendborn.
I'm sorry, it's true. It's true.
Rap.
Right, but it's true though. There are so many people who are like finding these books and comping them. And it's because they're given this idea, they've sold so well. Everybody's talking about them. Everybody loves them, like all these different things. And it's like, yes and no. Legendborn does have a lot of loud people talking about how much they like it, but it also has a very loud group of people talking about the things that they don't like. So much so that you go into the very next book and address the haters from Twitter in the book in the ways that you challenge the things that are brought up.
Right. What was that?
So, like, that's been the conversation, right? Is that like things that people called out about the first book, when she wrote the second book, like, took aim to make sure she like called out. Like, so there's a conversation, I guess, in the second book with someone being like, oh, to coming to her about oh boy and what he said. But basically, and like the way that it was told to me is it's kind of like, oh, but I was being a brat to him, or I was being something like that to him. So it was like trying to explain away the things that other people had claimed in the first book, right? That's why there's more Black people in the second book. You said what?
I said, not Bree saying that he deserves to be verbally abused by herself.
Don't quote me. I ain't read it. I'm telling you the conversations I've seen and people talking about the books and what happens and whatnot. Because I ain't read it, so I can't tell you the exact wording.
She said, wrap it up. I'm not participating. Wrap it up.
Right.
We could spend a whole show roasting that book alone. Like, I have a lot of problems with that book. Like, for real.
But, and have done it. Didn't we buddy read that book?
I think we did. Well, I feel like maybe we did and we didn't love it, so we didn't talk about it on the channel. No, not that we didn't love it. It was just we had problems. We had problems.
Yeah. And what's crazy is my problems, at least, have gotten worse since that live. In the live, I was like, people allowed to read it, gave it a 4.5. I think it's beautifully written, and just like the arc of the story and the time that we get surprises, whatever. Like, I think that it's the perfect Save the Cat fantasy. But ever since then, the way, particularly in the way that she's responded to characters, to critique from not characters, humans, I just have lost respect for the book, and I think that if she responded to readers like the guy that did Violence Conspiracy did, I think that she would have different books, because like, what other Black fantasy in the YA space so Raybearer, the Gilded Ones, like there's so many that are like getting accolades and roses, and I love Raybearer. We all know this, but those are like African inspired fantasies. How many Black fantasies, like African American, are getting that level of like praise? But hers is, and I'm just like, and what if you listen to the people representative of your main character and make some shifts in the second book that were actually pleasing to your readers, since you are writing for readers? What would that do? Like, to be able to have people who love this African American fantasy the same way that African inspired fantasies get loved. I think it's just a wasted opportunity on her part. Like, there's so much that can be done with some professional
tell y'all to wrap it up. I tried to tell y'all to wrap it up. I did. I tried to tell you.
And hold it no more.
I tried to tell you.
Okay, no. I have been wondering though. I had literally been wondering. Because here's the thing. Almost all of them follow in one or two categories. Either a parent or a spouse.
Yes. That's exactly what it is.
This case is both, so.
Oh, double influence.
Proximity to whiteness is a man.
I mean, it will really.
Man, blindside you. You don't even realize you catching strays left and right.
And then no.
See? See? See?
Not that woman.
Not that woman. Hey, Adrian. Hey, Nicole. We're going to say hi verbally because I've been waving at y'all.
You didn't know that, Vina?
Right. I'm surprised Vina ain't know, apparently. Apparently, girl.
Yeah, that came out. Didn't that come out? Because it was a lot of, I know I was very vocal about it, but I had one of the many problems I had with it was the way Bree, I believe her name was Bree in that book.
Yeah.
Okay. The way Bree treated her hair, like that's a very big, like there was a very stark difference between what we saw in Raybearer and what we saw in Legendborn. So,
yeah.
And I believe that came out around that time. Don't it?
It can't be so quiet. It's why I said the girl don't look the same on the first cover to the second cover. She get lighter each book. She does not look like the same girl. Like, y'all. Okay, let's go to question 3 because apparently question 2 got us in a little bit of a tizzy. What are some of your favorite examples of Black love in books that are outside of the typical romance genres? I know
I can't prepare for this. And I got a stack. Y'all ready?
Okay, come on. Hit us with a stack.
So, Black love. So I had 3 categories in mind: familial, friendship, and romantic. Right. So I thought this was a very good example of friendship and sort of familial Black love. Raybearer was excellent. I like the Redemptor.
Yeah.
Redemptor, I liked it, but I didn't like it as much as I liked Raybearer. We can talk about that another day.
Man, Raybearer.
You know what? We should do a conversation about sequels because something happened.
Yeah. Something happened.
Same with Ashes of Gold.
Please, let's talk about it.
I still ain't finished out. That's on my list.
This one right here. So before I even speak on it, this is a very strong content warning for miscarriages on and off page. So there's that. But this is you see like it's either 2 or 3 generations of women in a family that have a special, I guess you could call it power, that runs in their family, and they sort of run a business or based around that power. Now, I don't want to. It's been a while since I read it, and I don't want to spoil it. But so this is very much one of my favorite recent. This came out in 2022. Recent releases, 2021, and I think this might be her first novel. She's written several nonfiction books, but this is her first novel, and I really enjoyed it. And then another example of familial love that's one of my favorites is Sorrowland. So there's the mother is basically trying to survive. I don't know what to say. Hold up, because do they say that? So this lady, this person is pregnant at the beginning of the story, knowing that she's having twins. And then she's on the run from a situation. It doesn't say it in the synopsis, so I won't say. But she's on the run. It does say that. And that's a mother's love a Black mother's love is something incredible. And this is one of my favorite examples of that. And then this one, there is a throuple up in here that is just.
I love them. Oh my gosh. When you get to see Alabaster act like, oh my God, all lovey-dovey and stuff, I love it. I love it. My favorite thing about Jamison's queer characters, they just exist. There is no explanation. You're not making excuses for them. You're not trying to give them reasons. They just are. So it doesn't even feel like anything, but this is just the world. And this is the world we live in, and we're moving through it. I just appreciate that they never feel like a prop. They never feel like somebody checking a box. They never feel like they just exist in the thing, and it goes on. I read 5th season 3 times before I realized the character was trans in one of them. Like they just were who they were. And then I was like, oh, wow, I read that and just didn't even process it as this was this. This is just who they've been the entire story. I love Jamison's ability to do that.
That was the first book I ever read by her. And this is probably the first Black fantasy I ever read, like ever in my life. This was my introduction to Black people writing fantasy. And I was like, my mind was truly blown. Like, I read 2 books like back to back that blew my mind. Like, people write like this? That's a what? Like, that's a thing?
Right.
What? Like, so this is one of them. And the relationships in here, and even the friendships in here. Hold up. What?
Man.
Please, but the throuple, I pull this out for the context of this conversation for the throuple.
That's the first throuple I ever read, and I was like, oh wow, I like that. I like this is okay. I see how this could be done. Okay. So it's funny that one of yours is a Jimison, one of mine is a Jimison. Mine will be the Kingdom of Gods. Y'all know I love me some Sia with the twins and even that little throuple of what it was, legitimately, right? Because that's legitimately what it was, right? It just was. And the love that Sia had that is expanding all this time for the honestly, the whole series, right? Because the love that the God of Light has for his half-breed daughter that you don't even know is supposed to exist, and he done killed everybody and all, just so much. When I say Jimison can write some love in ways that you just be like, I didn't know I needed this in my life. But y'all can't say nothing to me about the 100,000 Kingdoms, the Kingdom of Gods. Like, you can't say nothing to me about that at all, that series, because there's just love all through that, right? Like hiding the God that everybody hates in your house, even though you know he ain't supposed to be there, and all. Just okay. So those would be some of my favorite examples, right? So there's there. I'm pretty much the type of person that I sound like a broken record because y'all already know who the next author I'm gonna say is, Elizabeth Acevedo, because Black female friendships, still no other Black YA author writes them as well. Period. I've still yet to read someone that writes them, and it is for 2 reasons. It's literally for 2 reasons. Because 9 times out of 10, they don't got no Black friends. So let's start there. Can't write good Black friendships if you're not surrounding your characters with Black people. I just, thought I'd remind anybody that was watching that might be a writer, because we appreciate it, right? I had Black friends growing up. I would like for the characters that Black girls are reading to have Black friends. Man, at all. And the part that's crazy is you're literally in competition with all the girls. So it don't even make sense that y'all have an issue writing the Black girls in the stories. Like it don't ever be that they have a super great friendship with the non-black girls that you got them. They be shitty friendships. So it don't ever be like you're showing a great friendship. Anyway, it'd be so weird. It's so weird.
Not to bring it up again, but that's another problem I had with Legendborn, because she didn't have no friends, let alone black ones.
Well, she had Alice, but Alice snitched.
She wasn't a friend. She wasn't actually, anyway.
Every time,
but she wasn't black.
Wings of Ebony. Every time we give them some non-black friends, they do some stuff that just be like, and then I gotta fight with you, and then I gotta convince you that racism is really going on, and I gotta deal with being gaslit by my best friend. It's just why?
Alice braided her hair in book 2.
You said what?
Alice braided her
Vina
hair.
said the Asian lady braided her hair. Girl, if y'all don't get out of my, I don't listen. I'm so mad. Oh my God.
Is Deidre telling you to get out her Facebook?
No, y'all can, are you for real? Are you for real? Are you for real? No, y'all, please.
That felt personal.
No, lots of like, I'm mad at her. I want to fight her. I should have put her in that list. I want to fight her. Like, what are you doing? Who's that for? Who is that for?
That I'm saying that felt so personal to her haters, actually critics, like that. You know what? Not only am I gonna not blacken it up, I'm gonna show you that if you have allies, dun, 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 you don't need black friends. Cute.
And here's the thing. I read Black Like Me, right? And I was reading this white man talking about this story, right? And truly, allies ain't even doing enough. Because when I'm reading this story and I'm reading about like the white people that like put themselves, these people were worried about getting lynched they damn selves. Right? Like that's not just saying, oh, I think black people deserve better rights. Like this is, I'm putting my business behind this. I'm willing to lose my house and have to move to a whole nother state because someone is threatening my life because of the way that I'm moving in this. I'm choosing to not publish things in the media that are propaganda. I'm choosing to publish the truth. And now my kids can't go to school. Like it's a whole different thing. It's so much different than putting a black square on your Instagram for a day. All I'm saying.
Who that black square? I lost a couple friends behind that. I was so mad at white people. I was so mad.
Man, and then just reading, like, because you know, when I did the reels for Kwanzaa-thon, I was doing like a lot of research in like black heroes in Oklahoma and things that they did, right? And so just reading about like the boycotts and just watching all the discourse when we're talking about boycotting a business on Twitter or anything like that. And it's just like, all you gotta do is not shop there. We had people who had cars choosing to stay out of their own air conditioning to go sit on the bus to boycott.
Right.
To show like I'm willing to inconvenience myself in multiple ways.
Yeah. For however long it takes.
For however long it takes.
And it took months.
Like when people say we are not our ancestors, you are damn right. You are damn right we not, because no.
I don't know. We had a little peep of them at the Alabama Slammer, you know.
Man, that need to be a national holiday. We need to remember
not the Alabama Slammer.
I'm barbecuing this year when the day come around.
Remind me of the date. I forgot the date. When was the date, y'all?
We gonna look. When's the Alabama Brawl? I bet if we go Google Alabama Brawl, it'll be.
I'm taking off tomorrow. I'm requesting off, so let me know.
This national holiday is
the
right
Alabama
after
Slammer took me out. Wait,
I'm making sure. You know, I might even come to Texas and hang out. We might have a whole little barbecue, DJ.
Listen, it's a holiday. It's declared.
It looked like August 7th. See? Oh, it's around Grandma August 5th. August 5th. Around Grandma's birthday. I feel like Grandma would have loved to celebrate that.
She would have loved it. She would have loved
that. Throw some bowls and get some barbecue. She would have loved it. But yeah, so for me, N.K. Jemisin and Elizabeth Acevedo show great examples of both familial Black love and friendship Black love. And I know I don't necessarily, I don't know where family lore sits on that. Not that I don't think it shows great familial relationships, but I wasn't entirely sure about the representation for the characters. Because I know that just because they're in the Dominican Republic doesn't mean that they're guaranteed to be Afro Latina. So I didn't want to do that because there weren't any specific like Afro Latina or Latino references that I realized. But I also am not a part of that community, so I'm not saying that in like I'm the definite be all answer in that. I'm specifically speaking to the 3 YAs that I read. Those all show very, very strong examples of Black female friendship. I also think for me, an honorable mention would be The Taking of Jake Livingston. Before that, Friendship and The Taking of Jake Livingston. I loved it because they're both, you know, Black boys in this situation, and you get a new Black boy who just shows love instantly. And I think it's a conversation because that person we've been speaking about, you know, that was one of her big people tell me all the time how much they just appreciate that Brie was just love and she didn't have to do anything. That was what I appreciated about Taking of Jay Livingston. And nowhere in there did old boy threaten him before he showed him all this love.
That is wild to me.
Right. No, that wasn't there. And then also, one of our favorite things to talk about, everybody comps Get Out, but he is literally the only person that had a Black person come and rescue him. Right. Like he literally was the only person in one of those comps that had a Black person and came out of the situation in some type of positive manner. And every single other one, it's either the story stops abruptly or it's a negative story or the Black person is self-hating. And there's no other Black people. So I liked all of those for the examples that they showed him, because for the stories that they are outside of, now I think I read Taking of Jake Livingston before I ever read Long Division, because the love in Long Division, the Black love in Long Division, from puppy love to parental love, like this baby did it. And I think it was a great way to show, like, for us to read an adult book that showed an adult writing kid characters, but still like keeping
really well.
It was really well. Like they felt like children.
Right.
Literally. Like I never felt like I was reading an adult trying to make a book for kids. Like that wasn't a thing at all. He was writing the characters from his understanding of what that mindset was, and it made it so much more authentic.
Yeah.
It made it so much more fun to read.
It reminded me of But Not Buddy.
Right.
Just how like on point that voice was.
And also Arcade and the Triple T Token. Let's not forget. Let's not forget the familiar.
What do all 3 of these books about Black boys have in common? They're written by Black men. I just want to drop that real quick, because we seem to, in this space, always forget that Black men exist in here, and we need them to be writing stories just as much as the amazing and not so amazing Black women we read. Okay, because you know some of them are, some of them ain't. You know?
I want to throw in here too is Slay by Brittany Morris. Morris. I don't know where it is. That was a very good. This is a tiny bit of a spoiler. It ends up being a friendship between 2 Black people, 2 Black girls, in the end. So it's really, I mean, I never read a book like that about a Black character by a Black person about making a video game for Black people. Like what they don't do it. What people write like, so that was one of those. I mean, people had a lot of people. The main criticism with that was that you couldn't do a game like that in the time frame that, but it was like, this is fantasy, like,
yeah.
so that was a, I mean, I'm not going to invalidate it, but it was
I didn't even hear that one.
It needed to be considered. Say again.
I said I didn't even hear the one about like the time frame being unrealistic. I heard
like, you know, like it takes years to make a video game, especially one that is as immersive as that one is in that game.
So Vita says no.
No, I forgot about that. Okay, I do need to take that back. I forgot about that. You're right. So let me take that back. You're very right. You're very right.
And I'm not gonna lie, here's the thing that I want to point out about these books when it comes to Black boys. I think the writers are very slick with how they portray Black boys in these stories, if I'm being honest. Because I don't know if y'all remember the year that we did You Should See Me in a Crown as one of the books, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go back and try to finish it, but I don't know if I'll be able to because, you know, somebody had already told me. And I was like, so this is never addressed? Because the entire book, we're led to like hate this Black boy low key from the vantage point of this because he just completely left her. And why would you leave her? And y'all are the only two Black people.
Yeah, I forgot about that. It was
all a lie, right? And it was someone else's work. And I just think that like it's very telling, right? Like even the Black boys written in White Smoke, the Black boys written in some of these books, like the way these Black boys are written, even when they're not main characters, it feels icky sometimes.
And we just one more tinfoil hat and then I'm done. Are these Black women married to Black men?
See, and that's the part that's weird because, you know, that one lady, she done got knocked up by he looked translucent, so you know he could have a non-Black parent, but because they bounce the same colors, and you know she's high, right? So, but all the rest of them
are they?
I mean, I think like two, they husband. Here's the thing. I'm gonna say it this way: the ones that do have Black husbands, they husbands look like they have one parent that's not Black.
Okay, because I'm just saying there is something to be said for not being in a loving relationship with Black men and feeling a little bit resentful about that fact because of experiences that you may have had with Black men. And so consciously or subconsciously writing Black men to be capital T trash bags.
No, it's a running thing. Like that's something we need to check right after we read some shit that don't.
Right. And 9 times out of 10, when have we ever been wrong? Like the only one that surprises is the one that just got knocked up. We always like, I thought he was
not expecting that, especially with all the I take that back because all the TikToks about not TikToks, maybe it was TikToks that made it to Twitter, but she was dating one of the apps. She was doing a lot of app dating, and it was all the complaints were very clear that the complaints were about. So
all the stuff I saw, or whenever they would do like lusty, like one of those little reels, it would always be a Caucasian. It'd be her and the girl,
like a German dude.
Right. It'd be some dude for some other white dude that was like not American white. So I don't know if that was supposed to make it better. I don't know.
Right. Like I don't know what
I just kept seeing it. So when she posted the baby shower picture and there was a Black man, I said, oh, dang. Even the broke clock can be right.
I'm not trying to hate on people marrying outside their race. All I'm saying here is that there is a running thing.
There is a theme. There is
these problematic books.
There is a theme. And I will say it is the number one reason why I try to go out of my way to read Brittany S. Lewis, because I know that she is married to a Caucasian, but in both of her books, the person is Black. The person is Black. And they're healthy relationships. Like there's conversation. There is us trying to find answers to questions. There's us trying to communicate. There's us admitting when we're wrong. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's solutions to problems. And for me, I'm like, okay, I appreciate that. Because again, Just because that's not what you're in doesn't mean that can't be what you write, because there's a whole bunch of single women writing romances.
I didn't even go to look that up because she didn't give me.
Because she wrote it so well.
Yeah, she didn't give me those vibes.
She didn't write self-hating black boys. She didn't write black boys who scared to talk to black girls. She didn't write black girls scared to talk to black boys. She didn't write, like, those aren't the characters she wrote. So you don't even sit there questioning, like, this representation feels off, right? The only times we go to question things is when something doesn't feel right.
Right. It's when the author dysfunction makes it onto the page and it's like, where did this come from? Because it doesn't necessarily feel organic to the character.
Right.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, again, how many times have we talked about people writing their trauma and their therapy in the books? Right? Like, seriously. Because again, if we're writing what we want to see, right? So you never wanted a black boy to show you love, so you can't write about it in that way?
Because if you really didn't care.
So you was never, okay, well, then that's a different conversation we need to have, sweetheart.
I'm not going to say it. Never mind.
Britt said we got somewhere to be.
There's something to be said. The same way black women, and I stand by it, be like, if you want to date Tiffany, oh, didn't mean to name her, but like a white woman named Tiffany. If you want to date a white woman named Tiffany, leave me out of it.
Right.
Don't date Tiffany because Keisha is loud and ghetto and da-da-da. Date Tiffany because you love Tiffany.
Right.
So if you don't care, it's giving you protesting too much.
Right.
If you really don't care that black men have swerved you, or you had a bad experience where that one was actually like really mean to you or whatever, not taken away from like what your experience was. But if you really healed from that and not holding a whole gender race of men accountable for it, you wouldn't be writing little black boys who are like wrong just for being black boys.
Right.
So it's like either they're not in the story at all, or they're in the story and they're a problem.
Because it's interesting, right? Because it's also, right, if the conversation is they rejected you, right? So then in the ones that accepted you and didn't reject you, if you are not with the same one you've been with your entire life, obviously somebody did something in between there that was different and that wasn't going with your taste, but that didn't stop you from going back into that category. So you didn't let that one person keep you from that entire group, or those couple, or those 3 or 4 bad boyfriends keep you from dating in that group. So this one person makes you feel this 2 or 3 people, right? Because again, not invalidating anybody's experience, because I've definitely been there, right? We have all definitely at one point in time been like, dang, is it really like that bad out here today? I can't find nobody. Sometimes you gotta move. Okay. You know, sometimes you can't stay in the same city you always been in. There's other things that can happen. You don't know every type of black person that lives in this country staying in that same place. Like, it's just not a thing, right? Like, sometimes you gotta go where the fish are. You can't just stay just because ain't nothing biting where you at, baby. I mean, come on.
Have to do some research.
You're not gonna be everybody's cup of tea, baby. Somebody gonna love you eventually. You just gotta
swim upstream.
Man, thank you.
Or down, for that matter, just depends where you at.
Right. Hit a backstroke. Maybe swimming the regular way ain't the right way for you.
You gotta zigzag. You gotta,
you know, hell, get out the water and get in the boat. Maybe you need to be whitewater rafting. Okay. Maybe swimming ain't where you gonna find your person. It just, you know, it's all kind of things.
We ain't passed the collection plate in a good long minute.
I'm just saying we probably need to, because I feel like we've been preaching a good amount tonight for sure.
It's been a lot of tinfoil hats coming out.
Man, you know me and my conspiracy theories with how they be treating these black books, because I'm not gonna hold you.
No. We prepare yourself. Shay, write this down in your memory. We need to do a writerly conversation on looking at, and there, I don't know. Let's talk about it afterwards, because I don't want it to be messy. I don't want it to be unproductive. But there's something about that first conspiracy that was mentioned, if you know, you know, that I'm just like, it's getting egregious. And it was noticeable after Tomi's second book, and it was noticeable after Ashes of Gold. I hate to say it because JL was so nice.
It
It was no after that. And that's when I was
still
like,
ain't finished it. I still ain't finished it.
I finished it, but I was just so confused. I was very confused. And that's one of the reasons why I was like, I don't think Trad Pub is for me, because all the promises that they have in Trad Pub feel like they're not available to Black writers. Because what is this? What is this? How did this pass an agent and an editor and come out into the world? And we over here with a red pen and a hammer grade in a middle school paper. I don't wait.
We need to back it up a little bit, because the predecessor to that very thing is Children of Blood and Bone.
That's what I said first.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I'm sorry.
My critique partner was literally like, I was with a red pen going through the second book.
I refused to read the second book, but I need y'all to, Britt, did I read Ashes of Gold? Do you remember if I read Ashes of Gold?
I don't think so. I think we all tried.
Did I try?
I think there was an effort of people to try, because Wing was fine. I appreciate the Black love triangle after everything is said and done. I do. I don't remember if you read Ashes. I know I was in my own struggle.
I think you were trying to read it because, like, I kept saying, remember, I was like, why is there a fight on every page and I'm so bored?
Okay, I feel like because it started out with them coming through the jungle, right?
Yes.
Okay, I did read it, but I immediately forgot it. Okay, yes. Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of action, and there wasn't always a reason that was super apparent to.
I gave it 3 stars. Okay, I did read it. Okay.
Yeah, but we do need to go back to the very first one, because Tommy got a lot of attention.
She did. It was like, I want to say it was the first of it was like the Hunger Games, but for Black fantasy girls. I want to say, I feel
everyone was looking
it had perfect timing. Yeah, it had perfect timing with the release of Black Panther. And it was just a phenomenon. Like, even my mama, she knows I love to read, right? My mama called me, she's like, girl, you gonna get this book, right? And I was like, I already pre-ordered, girl. Like, it was one of those things. It was one of those.
And it was such the part of the phenomenon was her shooting out of nowhere. Past like, oh, on the publishing streets, here's your newspaper for those of you that already read. No, it was like, for those of you that read, we're already up and aware, but you're on Good Morning America. You're in the mainstream people who read or don't read. And they're like, she went pew, and then showed her behind time for time. And it was just like, well, why did you get their attention to embarrass us?
I think it also goes to the fact that, like, people be forgetting that these people be regular people who have no real
PR training
at all. Like, they are just moving through life doing these things. Like, a lot of people use social media like they have used social media since they started as a child. Most people don't transition into realizing, like, you really can't say what comes to your mind every time something makes you feel a way, like you did when you was 15, 16, 17, or 21 and 22. Like, those
You're
just
grand now. You gotta lock it down.
Do right. Back again to why don't let me be famous. Pen name me all the time, and I really don't want to tell y'all what the pen name is. I hope y'all just find it, because and be like, don't you got books out you ain't said nothing? Sure don't, because then you gonna come back here and say something and I'm gonna be like, you supposed to be a role model. You can't talk to people like that. Do you pay a bill over here? Okay, I'm gonna talk to you however you roll up over here, because
it's giving half the day you deserve.
That part. Because how you come at me is how I'm definitely gonna come at you. And again, people talk to people they view as famous any kind of way, because apparently you're supposed to just take that. Right. And I remember seeing the tweets where she was like, was it Nora Roberts? She was like calling out
Nora Roberts.
Like, book. And I'm
Nora Roberts, because she had a book, something like
similar title,
Blood and Bone or something. Blood and Bone or something like that. And I just was like, here's the first part. Like,
It was so embarrassing.
I don't even care that it's Nora Roberts, right? Because that's the part that should have just clued you in. But
It was so embarrassing.
Here's the thing, though. Like, as a writer, you ain't never just looked up titles for your book and just seeing how many there already are. Like, you're not like words. You're not that creative to think of this thing, and nobody else has ever thought of it.
Especially not
every title I have come up with, I've seen some variation of it on the internet. The stories ain't nowhere close to being like mine. Nothing at all.
Not in the same genre or anything.
Not in the same genre.
Not the same thing.
Right. Why would you just that was
incredibly embarrassing.
I didn't even feel like you needed a PR person for that one. I just thought common sense but you know, common sense ain't common. Friends, that'd be the other part. Part of the reason I think y'all don't write friends is because y'all don't have friends.
Because also, like, this is another conversation, but friendship is a really complicated thing. Like, there are some friendships that are beautifully simple. They've always been beautifully simple from middle school to middle age. But that's a super rare phenomenon. A lot of friendships, especially if you have had them that long, you're growing and maturing and getting your brain together with those. And so, like, it's complicated. Y'all get into fights, y'all get into stupid fights, y'all make up, you break up. Like, they're their own love story. And some of these friendships a lot of them are so flat that it's like, have you had real friends, or is this just what you imagine friendship to be? Because if you've had real friends and y'all have had friction and had to navigate through it, I think this interaction that your characters are having would be richer and less, she pissed me off, now we're not friends anymore, and then we make up and the gathering the team sub beat of the finale beat. You shouldn't need Save the Cat to tell you how to write friendships. You really shouldn't. It doesn't need to be something that's these are the elements of a good book friendship. Like, have you had good friends? There you go. But it's seeming as if that's not the case, because the rendition is so mechanical and so uncomplicated, and then it becomes unsatisfying, and then it becomes a formula. And it's just so disappointing.
No, it definitely feels
like, Listen, Britt has a 9 a.m. flight tomorrow, so also.
we gonna get out of here real soon then.
Wait it out.
So often that it's like all they know how to write is competition between women.
Because that's what they know.
Right. And it's like that's all you know. That's so sad, honestly. Like, that's super sad that's the only experience that you know. What's even sadder is that you're comfortable passing that off to the next generation.
Exactly.
What are new different ways you feel authors/readers can champion Black love in books?
Because I didn't get to do my question number.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Okay. You can drop your Rex in this too.
I'm just gonna shoot them through them. I haven't talked about this book in a very long time, but the reality is, it's always gonna be me. I love this book. Are you ready? Come close. Song of Solomon by Toni Morrison has the left quadrant of my heart on lockdown and always will. I love the friendship between Guitar and Milkman. I love it. I absolutely freaking love it. And partly because it is so complicated. Like, you start off seeing them together and it's very simple. It's very brotherly. It's just like, okay, they give each other crap, but they're besties for resties. Romance is there. And then as they grow up and it gets complicated because Guitar finds his, like, not racial awakening, because that's not a thing. Like, they're Black. Everyone knows they're Black. It's not that. It's like, in that book, in the timeline of that book, Emmett Till happens. And then there's the backlash of the 7 days starting, like, killing a white person every time a Black person is killed. And Guitar gets lots of, like, what's the word? Spoilers. But also this book is not new. So if you haven't read it by now, I'm not culpable for that. But they start getting taken apart by their different growing up challenges. Like Guitar is trying to figure out how he feels about being a Black man in the South, and how he wants to navigate that in a way that still makes him feel like a man, makes him feel like he has agency. And Milkman is finding out his family, and they converge in ways that set them at odds. And still I wish I had the book in my hand instead it's upstairs in my room. At the end of the book, when Guitar is like, he tries to kill Milkman a couple times. And at the end of it, Milkman is like, Guitar, because they're like on these two different cliffs. What an image. They're on these two different cliffs. And Milkman is like, Guitar, you want my life? You can have it. The way I could BAWL on this live right now. You want my life? You can have it. Just what that even means to be in a relationship with a friend where you're just like, I value you enough to be like, you clearly need something right now and you can have it, whatever it is. If I can help you, I'm going to do it. We can talk about that later, but just that moment. And then him being like, fine, like, because there's also like the flying African mythology in there. And so him being like, I finally understood what Solomon meant, his great-great-grandfather. If you surrender to the wind, you can ride it. And so there's this internal dialogue of the flying African's mythology coming out. And he is jumping into the air as he's telling Guitar, you can have my life. And Guitar jumps towards him and they meet in the air. And that's how the book ends. And I'm just like, I'm not going to say that these two Black boys are flying on wings of love, because am I that corny? Yes. I'm not going to say that out loud any more than I just said it out loud. But I'm just saying, the love being like that. I want love that doesn't have to say love because the love is so deep. I just want the relationship to be, nothing could be moving this but just an abundance of love and intimacy. So that is, I think that is not new, but like something that could be resurrected of like, how are we expressing love in relationships without saying the word love? Because I think in some instances that can be really lazy. Like you're just saying love, so you don't have to show love, and then the love isn't as rich as it could be, as opposed to just like showing it in every element of the interaction. So that's something. And then I also think that the way that friends stand in for each other when romantic relationships don't work out, and I'm thinking about Jane and Kat and Dread Nation and Deathless Divide, but Justina Ireland, like the way that Jane falls into just like her romantic life is a real dumpster fire, a blazing dumpster fire that almost gets her killed at least once, but really more than once. And the way that Kat is there for her and just protects her, is patient with her, is constantly like speaking life over her. And it's like, you're not a monster, even though you kill monsters and you're in proximity to monsters and you're so good at it that people think you're a monster. Like she continues to speak humanity into her in a time when she's really questioning that. And there becomes this entire like mythos within the novel that's literally calling her a devil. And it's just like, I really like friendships that are written where there's one character who's like on the edge of darkness and there's another friend who's like anchoring them to light. I think there's something so powerful about those relationships because they allow for a great deal of introspection in the way that the light character is like ministering to the dark. So I'll just leave it at that for the sake of time. But those are my two fave like non-romantic loves. And those are two ways that I love to see Black love championed. This ends my TED Talk. Thanks for coming.
To answer this, I don't know different or new so much, but give me more familial love. Give me more of that. Give me more positive friendships between Black people. That I just want to see more of that, please. I really would like stop writing that shit if you don't know it. Just stop, because you're doing more harm than good at the end of the day. That's for the romantic side too. Like don't write what you don't know. You know what I'm saying? Not that like that, but like in a sense, make it up if you got to, like, don't bring it down is what I'm going with it. Like,
you can watch or read to see
yeah,
how
like aspirational is what I mean. Right. Make it aspirational with the Black romance of it all. If you're gonna go there, like, you don't have to. Nobody's making you. There's people already out there doing it and doing it well, which I think is the next question you got. But like, I really want to see more familial love and better relationships amongst friendship relationships where there are Black people involved.
Man, that's what be killing me when I do find out they come from two Black parents and they together still. I'd be like, that's such a, you seen that every day of your life and still see it every day of your life now, and you don't want that for yourself. You can't write that for, okay. You know, because here's the thing. I'm gonna just be honest. I don't understand why you just don't write white characters. Truly, like, I just don't understand what's the point.
Right? Why not?
And I have to worry about Blackness at all. Like, you truly could do that, and that would just be what you did. And I would never talk about it because I never read it. So this would never be a conversation.
I'm not gonna read it. I might clock it, but I'm not gonna say. I mean, mentally, like,
I'm be like, oh, that's all they write. I can't say nothing because I'm not gonna read it, so I'm not gonna never know if it's good or bad or did it do. But you know what? I will know that it will. I don't doubt that it would be good because you could write about something generic for you. You would not have to focus on culture. You would not have to focus on the things that make us unique. And if you truly can't do that, that's perfectly fine. Then just do that. Like, it's the fact that, here's the thing, is the truth of the matter is, you know, there are quite a few people who want to buy books with Black people in them. You know that you have a built-in audience with that. Even if it is just a Black girl, you have a built-in audience with that. And rather than go ahead and be like, you know, well, that's a niche I can just go ahead and jump in. Right? I mean, if you're gonna be mediocre anyways.
I'm with you, because there's a bag to be had over there. The white people,
like, go get that money over there. Because I mean, people are doing it.
That's like that white man that has those cozy mysteries. That's like fried chicken and collard greens and whatever it is.
When I found out he was white, I was like,
yeah.
But also makes sense because
those. Because tap into it. Right.
Truly.
Tap into it.
Because I mean, that's what you want to do anyways.
That's what you want.
That's what you want to do anyways, right? Like, the conversations and the things that we're saying, obviously the critiques are not getting through. Obviously the critiques are stuff you disagree with, which is totally fine. Just write something else. Truly. Because, like, honestly, that's how I feel. Like, I feel like you can champion Black books by championing them and not having to pretend to create them if you don't, right? Like, if you're not gonna write it, talk about another person that you know does and does it well. Yeah. Right? Like, you don't have to always be that person, right? Like, you can admit, hey, I don't write this, but I know who does.
Yep.
Right?
Because it's starting to feel like there's a mouse in the house to me.
It's really weird. And I would say I'm with Deidre on the familial and the friendship, because I will say we have seen a very great influx of Black romance, right? I feel like I know 10 to 15 Black romance authors that I did not know 2-3 years ago, right? I knew Alexandria House and Christina C. Jones. I can name 5, 6, 7 other more off the top of my head now that I could at that time, and it's still like there are constantly more people growing in there. So I feel like we have a good space on that. For those of y'all who don't want to write romance, can we not have Black love shown in other ways in your stories? Right? Like, if you truly want to have an interracial couple, whatever, they can't have Black friends. they can't be involved in a positive relationship with their Black family. There always has to be some antagonism, right? Because like the truth is even when you don't like your siblings, you still love them, right? Like there's still things in which y'all still connect and talk about and are close on some things, even if y'all aren't cool on everything. Like it's just weird to me how like so many authors are writing stories in which there is nothing but pain, as if that's all that we have.
Excuse me. Right.
And these moments of Black love allow for that to be untrue. And it's a simple way to dispute that narrative. And I just feel like the best way to champion that for writers is to write it. Truly. And I think that readers are doing so much more because again, like I only know about so many more Black authors and love in these stories because of the Black readers, right? Because of people like Vina, because of people like Deidre, because of people like you, Britt, like because of you guys, like, hey, I read this author, I like that, right? So like I think that the thing that I love, so again, with like Deidre, it's not necessarily new or different, but I love the way that Black readers will champion books that make them feel seen and make them feel heard. And I just feel like if we had more of those, we champion more of those. You know, the fact that we know without a shadow of a doubt, I'm going to always say Elizabeth Acevedo and N.K. Jemisin is great, but it also sucks because that means that those are the only two people I can constantly name, right? You know, I got
for years.
Right, for years. We need more than that. Yeah. We deserve more than that.
Yeah. Can we do a live conversation later on this thing I heard? And it was an opinion that Brittany had. And I'm like, I feel like I understand what you mean, but I don't know that I agree. And she said that Black writers deserve to be mediocre too.
I've heard that. And it's similar with movies. Like we deserve mediocre Black movies to me. Like we get to have a gazillion movies, C level, B level, with an all white cast, and it's fine. I'll watch them. There's several of those that I watch all the time, like comfort movies. But we deserve that with our books too. Like they don't have to blow your mind. They don't have to be innovative. They could just be good. You know what I'm saying? Like I think when I think of that, I'm talking about Paul Baby. It's a damn good book, right? It's not innovative to me in any way.
Is that what we mean by mediocre? Because if so, I can get behind that.
Right.
That's how I interpret that. But
that's not what I interpret mediocre. To me,
that's not because that like if you said it's darn good.
I'm thinking in this context, like we have like we say mediocre white men, you know, how they just get over. Let us have some of those middle of the road breakthrough. I guess it's not what that's how I interpret it. Like mediocre is a derogatory term. Yeah. It is. But I'm not taking it like this in that context, right? We need some middle of the road too. We don't have to have all trauma. We don't have to have all greatness. Get us some middle. That's how I'm using mediocre.
No, and I totally agree with that. I think that we just need
I don't know if that's what she
regular
means,
stories. I'm right there with you. We totally need regular stories where people are fighting secret societies. They gotta fight the whole world. It's just living, right? Like I am right there with you. I always feel like that's not what the hell these niggas mean. I mean, these people mean. I always feel like they mean they shouldn't have to write good books. Like they should be able to write a book that's just okay and people be okay with it. And for me, it's like, I get that, right? And the truth of the matter is those books do exist. You are just mad that people aren't expecting your book to be one of them.
Right. I was like,
but it's because of the things that you chose to tackle in that book, which is why I don't expect it to be one of those. Truly, if you wrote a cozy mystery, I would expect it to be just okay. I would that's literally what I expect, right? In a romance, I expect it to just be okay. Like I'm gonna get people meet, they fall in love, they might have a little fight in between this. I don't expect I don't expect you to blow my mind.
Right.
I expect you to hit the marks.
Nor do I want you to. I don't want to have to be attentive enough for you to blow my mind.
Want
just
you to.
follow
I just
the pattern.
Venus said, "Call baby is not the mediocre they mean," and I don't disagree with that. So when I'm trying to put it in a context of something I've already mentioned. So like, let's take it completely out of romance, and I'm gonna talk about two Black books, cozy mystery. So, what's Kelly? No, well, I wouldn't. We can't talk about that one.
Which one? What'd you just say?
Kelly, the lady over Black Writers.
I see Hollywood Homicide. Kelly
Hollywood Homicide. That one. That is a mediocre book. It was fine, right? But then we had Murder is the Plot by that other lady.
Valerie
I can't think of author's names right now. Huh?
Valerie Burns, is that her?
Burns, yes. So that one was a bad book. It's not mediocre, right? It's bad. So if she say something like we should be allowed to write bad books,
girl, gone. That's what I'm gonna say.
But if Kelly says something like we should be allowed to write mediocre books, I'm gonna take it a little different. It depends on whose mouth is coming out. Because I think hers is right. Yeah, right. I think it's middle of the road. It didn't blow my mind. It's not supposed to. It's a cozy mystery. It's completely fine. When we go to romance, it starts to get a little bit stickier. When we go to fantasy, it goes a little bit even stickier. When we go to mystery, so it depends on who's saying it.
Right, but the genre definitely plays a part because a mediocre fantasy, I'm not rocking with.
I'm not rocking with that per se, but we should have those. Is the point? We should be able to read those okay fantasies. Right. We don't have that many. They're either.
My thing is, to me, Wings of Ebony, mediocre fantasy. Ashes of Gold, bad fantasy. Bad.
Okay. So wait, what is that here?
In the looking at mediocre as being mid-level, if that's the conversation we're having.
Okay. Middle of the road.
Yes. Maybe we should stop saying mediocre because it has a very bad connotation. But
mid, I definitely agree with mid. And I definitely think you need to have it. But mediocre, when they say that, it's just like you want to stop. I think it's because when I was a kid, right? So I went to a Marvin Collins school. The first creed I learned, I'm in kindergarten. One of the first lines we say in this creed is, I banish mediocrity. So since I've been like a little kid, mediocrity has been like, no, this is not something you should ever strive for, especially as a Black person. Because it's all that they expect. They expect me to be just this baseline. And so it's so hard for me, right, to wrap my mind around that. And I feel like people are banking on that with the Black excellence conversation, right? That's usually when they bring up this, we should be mediocre, is when they're trying to combat the Black excellence conversation, as if we're saying, if you're not on this archetype, you're not worth listening to. And it's like, no, you're being disingenuous about what we're saying. We're just saying we want better quality. We're not saying that you can't just have a regular story. You don't have to be taking on the world. Toy Story didn't take on the world. One of my favorite stories.
And we love it still.
But it was innovative.
It was innovative.
Okay.
It was different.
Because the way I still have my bed from before I have a memory, and she's gonna stay there. And I make sure I tuck the covers around her when I leave. The house is cold because I don't want her to think I don't care.
Like
Toy Story did that.
Like that's the thing, is that like you can do basic level stories, and we're not against that, but y'all want to get away with doing bad stories and us amen that BS, and it's not gonna be a thing, right? Because here's the thing is, we all can agree that Wings of Ebony is on the mid. Every single one of us bought it, talked about it, and bought the second one. You know what I mean? Like, we still put our money there. We were still doing there to support. Yeah. Because even though, right, I remember being like, it's not even hood, it's hood adjacent. But because it was hood adjacent, I was glad that somebody had that representation. Like, I think it's just people, honestly, I think it's people being disingenuous. I think it's people being obtuse. And I think it's people trying to find reasons why not to be held accountable for what they're doing. Truly. Because nobody's saying you can't write a mid-level story at all. right? Like, and again, this is my own biases, so this is not anything disrespectful to any writer in these genres. There are some categories that in my head I just see at mid-level off top. I don't expect you to be extravagant. I don't expect the cozy mystery to make me be like, oh my god,
because that's not the point.
Because that's
the opposite of the point.
That's not the point. I expect it to be a comfort. I expect it to make me feel good, and I expect it to be good enough for me to keep going with your series.
Right. That's it.
Right.
That's it. I just want to be able to return here when I have a book hangover from reading something that was amazing.
How many of us bought that Harlem Renaissance cozy mystery? How many of us dead girls? How many of us bought it? How many of us
wasn't a cozy mystery?
That wasn't mid-level.
And we were there anyway.
And it was a struggle for all of us, but we tried, right? And I think that's the other part of the conversation is we don't get credit for the things that we try to do, right? We don't get credit for no, we see us there, and we don't want us to feel like our books don't matter. We don't want our writers to stop writing. We don't want them to stop submitting stories. So we're taking it upon ourselves to read them. It ain't our fault, you know it.
The first chance was free, boo. The second chance, you're gonna have to earn it.
I'm not the first one. The second one, Libby. If
you're gonna have to earn it.
The libraries
come back as she learned her lesson. He learned his lesson. Then okay, but otherwise,
I'm gonna buy Symphony of Secrets. I listened to the Violent Conspiracy. I ain't gonna get that one, but I buy Symphony of Secrets. You did that, and it definitely didn't hit second book syndrome to me.
That's great.
Right? Because I read it and wanted to go back and read the first one. Like, oh, wait a minute. This what you're writing here? Right. So, no, I definitely know. It's just had the cover one. It definitely had a cozy mystery cover. Did. We was ready. And I think, again, it goes back to publishing, paying attention to what we say we want, right? Yeah. There's so many conversations about wanting something set in the Harlem Renaissance. It's been like 3 or 4 things in recent years that I've seen set in that era. Have I seen them all doing good? No,
because they care more about fulfilling the trend than making it quality. And that's what's disappointing. I'm just like, can we just have quality at this point? At this point, forget the trend. At this point, I don't need it to just, you can do what they were doing 30 years ago. Just make it good. At this point, just make it good. I don't need it to be new.
She did say that, Vina. She said it wasn't a cozy mystery.
She said it wasn't a cozy. Here's the thing. This is also the thing. Publishing be marketing stuff. This is stuff that
they be messing that up bad. And they be messing the readers up because they set the expectations with the way they market it.
Didn't Hollywood Homicide have a very similar thing?
Huh?
Didn't the woman who wrote Hollywood Homicide have a similar thing where they marketed it in a way that she was like, that's not what I intended it to be?
Oh, I don't remember that.
I don't remember. Vina would know because Vina has known her longer and knew when the books actually came out. So Vina, if you could chime in on that one. We did do some of these already, but in any other things, any other authors you didn't name, recommend an author. Why is her comment still up there? Oh, because I made it spin it. No, it's one of the scrolling ones. I was confused at why it was, but it's because I put it on the wrong thing.
A ticker.
Recommend an author who you feel does an exemplary job of writing authentic Black love. I said mine, N.K. Jemisin, Elizabeth Acevedo.
Alexandria House, obviously.
Yeah, that's it for me. Oh, and Kiese Lehman did a great job. Mm-hmm. He did a great job. I will recommend all 3 of those writers. Oh, and Mildred D. Taylor, because I done read 9 of her 10 books this month. I'd recommend her in a heartbeat. You gonna cry though. You gonna cry, but
I can't cry. I cannot right now.
You said this author earlier, Christina C. Jones. I really think she does an excellent job writing Black love, and I think all of her books are Black romance, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think she has any interracial books, which is what
none that I've seen.
A lot to you at that draws me to her because I trust her with Black love. And then the other one's an OG, triple OG, OG, triple OG. You cannot go wrong with. I got a little stain. I got this from Thrift Books. I don't want to show it, but it's Brenda Jackson. This is like super duper backlist. When this come out? 92. This is one I 2004. That ain't even bad as I thought. But this is one I stole off my mama's shelf, and read. And she didn't know that I was reading her books. Like I was reading all of her Erica Jerome Dickey, Elin Zane. I didn't have no business reading none of that. None of it. I read all of it, Britt. I did. I was probably 12 or 13. Oh, no. But I was also reading Misery, The Pelican Brief, It. So
Deidre.
The Pelican Brief and The Client.
The Client. I read The Client. Like
Grisham as a kid reading those, and that's how. Man.
Wow.
This is how I cut my teeth on reading. So like, don't judge me too harshly. But Brenda Jackson, she has recent releases, but she has backlists for days, and you can get lost in like the Westmoreland. I think they're the brothers. It's the Medeiros family, and then the Westmoreland brothers. I believe I have that. Yeah, the Medeiros. Child, you want some just straight up romance? Yes. See that. I think a lot of us millennials grew up reading those books way before we should have. Like we didn't even have necessarily the
framework to understand
what we were reading.
I had no idea what I was in for, and all I knew is I couldn't tell my grandma what it was about once I had read it, because she was gonna be mad that I kept reading. Because it was different. I didn't expect it. I didn't. But she let us watch the movie. So she in her head was like, I'll let you see the movie. So letting you read the book ain't that. The book is always better than the movie.
It always is.
And it always go deeper. Always way more detailed. But yeah, so I mean, those two, I really think you can't go wrong. I can think of a few more, but I would rather read more of them before I recommend them to other people. I can definitely vouch for Brenda Jackson and Christina C. Jones 100%.
Alexandria, I mean, in addition to the ones that have already been said, Alexandria House, she was the first Black love romance writer I found. And it was just a relief in a word. Like, I was like, dang, finally. So I was really grateful for her. And then I found Christina C. Jones and et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, Alexandria House is always going to have a special place in my heart because she was the first one I found. And there were so many, like the McLean Brothers series, joy. I would be walking in the park, laughing out loud like a Looney Tune, just listen to these brothers roast each other. So yeah, I love, and then also, I don't know, the older I get, the more I'm just like, I also really like the way that Toni Morrison writes love. I just like that it's so ordinary, but it's so extraordinary. Like it's nothing, it's not fantasy, it's not, but just the way that she makes the mundane so remarkable and is able to highlight just how beautiful the everyday is. I really appreciate that more. And I think that subtlety is what I'm missing in genre fiction now, is like everything is so riding to a trend that it's so over the top, as opposed to like, if you're doing it, trust your reader to understand that you're doing it. Like, we're not stupid. You don't have to do too much. We got it. So yeah, those are the two that come to mind to add to the list that we've already created.
All right. Well, I want to thank you two ladies for coming in and joining me tonight. You know, we do this Writerly Conversations monthly, but I do appreciate you being our first official co-host, Deidre. We appreciated everything you brought to the conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I do have to say I need to read more romance. I don't enjoy romance via audiobook as much. I'd rather read it physically. I don't know why. It's a different experience. But I'm mostly only reading audiobooks right now. But I want to get back into my romance bag because it is my comfort place. Like it is just Black love in real life, but just in books, it's just so much joy there to explore in whatever avenue, whether it's familial or friendship or romantic. You know, I want more. I need to get more of it in my life.
Yes, I love that. I love that. All right, y'all. Britt, do you have any ending comments or anything you want to let the people know before we get out of here?
We'll see y'all next month.
That's it.
It's the way I almost cut you. Okay, so it is not only Black History Month. We're not only talking about Black love, but the author Brittany True dropped their debut Black romance.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm really tired.
Yes, it's late.
You tossed it to me, and I was like,
yeah, fumbled that bag bad, real bad.
Wait, do it again. Can I have a do-over?
Okay. Britt, do you have anything you want to let the people know before we get out of here?
Absolutely, Shay, like the little anchors do. They always got to pause like they ain't here at the first time. Absolutely. Even the comments caught it and I didn't. Absolutely, Shay. Thanks for asking. I have dropped my first book this month, February 13th. A Church Girl's Guide to Courting Danger came out. If you like amateur sleuth vibes, if you like sweet romance, if you like a sweet romance that has faith trends, Christian romance, if you like action, but not like hanky-panky action, but like pew-pew action, then this is definitely the romance for you. It has a grumpy female main character and a cinnamon roll male main character, first generation Haitian immigrants, preachers' kids, lots of fun tropes. So definitely check it out. It is on Amazon Kindle for the low price of $4.99. And if you're a member of Amazon Kindle Unlimited, it is free $99. Get it today.
All right, y'all. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And those of you guys who might come back and watch on the replay, we appreciate you so much. I'm going to try to be live the rest of the time that we're here for Black History Month because I got like 5 books I'm trying to finish in 3 days. Can I do it? I think I can. We're going to find out. But Friday night, we are going to be live on my channel for our closing wrap-up conversation. Dejana, Deidre, myself, and maybe some old persons, peoples. I don't know. We'll think about it, y'all. Let's see on that day come. But we're going to be talking about the group reads, Out There Screaming and Delicious Monsters by Lizelle Sandberry. Out There Screaming is the horror anthology edited by Jordan Peele. So definitely come. Be ready to talk about the things that you read this month and chit-chat with us. And I will see y'all later in the week. Bye.